Hello and new moon blessings, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Kelsey. This is Turkey. She seems like she's going to be joining us for a little bit of our practice. This is a Yin Yoga practice that you can do in honor of a new moon in Aquarius. So we can learn a lot about the general theme of the upcoming moon cycle by looking at what signs the moon will be passing through in its transit. So if you chose to click on this video, I'm assuming you are near or under a new moon in Aquarius. So I'm going to take a minute to just talk about what that could mean. The moon is said to represent our subconscious, our mind, our emotions, our psyche. So whenever we're under a new moon, it's thought that we are coming into a new awareness of something, but things are not totally clear yet. Because we're at the beginning of the cycle, things haven't been fully fleshed out. It's really important to use this time to observe and listen instead of judge and label what we notice. But with that said, it can be helpful to put some context to what's coming up for us through understanding what the zodiac sign or the astrological sign that we're under means. So the new moon in Aquarius is asking us to wake up to who we truly are. So a couple of reasons why I say that this moon is reflecting that. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, the planet of disruption and the planet of rule breaking. And so what might be coming into our awareness through this new moon is any way that we have been limited or held back through limiting thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, or through power structures that are outside of our control. And that can be kind of a rude awakening at times to realize that we have been maybe manipulated or limited in that way. But the new moon in Aquarius is asking us to remember who we are at our core before the world told us who we're supposed to be, before the world conditioned us and put all of these labels on us. So we're kind of breaking out of any limitations in this new moon. It should make for an exciting moon cycle. And then as far as our asana practice today, we're going to be focusing on the feet, the ankles, and the shins, as Aquarius rules this part of the body. So we'll go ahead and get started in toe squat. We're not going to be there forever. I'm not using any props for this practice. I do have a bolster here just for Shavasana or for seated poses, but you don't need it. So from a tabletop position, you're going to tuck all 10 toes under, and then you can start to send your hips back towards your heels. You might stay right here. You might take it like a modified child's pose, reaching the arms forward, bringing your forehead to the mat like so. Or if you feel like you want some more sensation, the closer you walk your hands in, the more sensation you'll feel. You could even walk your hands onto your thighs and stack head over heart and heart over hips, if that is appropriate for your knees or for your feet. So again, we're not holding this one for a super long time. It's kind of, again, like a rude awakening first thing in the practice, but it is so potent. Just close your eyes here and connect with a deeper flow of breath. Notice if you can start to soften through the soles of your feet, through your toes and your ankles. Knowing that this time that we're here will pass, and that you're capable of overcoming this pose. Or who knows, maybe toe squat is your favorite pose. And you're like, we could be here all day. Not labeling, not judging. Just noticing what's happening here. If it does start to feel really intense, you can come back down onto the hands if you had walked up like I did. Deepen your breath. One more breath in. Exhale, release. Walk your hands forward, untuck the toes, bring tops of your feet to your mat, and then pitter-pat the tops of your feet onto the mat. Alrighty. Widen your knees apart, big toes touch, sit the hips back towards your heels, reach your arms forward and melt your heart down, tadpole, also called extended child's pose. And so this is a nice counter stretch for the ankles and for the toes. We'll be holding this one a little bit longer, but I invite you to let go of the concept of time while you're in these poses, while you're in this practice. Just let me worry about that. And just notice the energetic effect of each pose. What comes up for you in the stillness and the silence? Is there something that you feel like you need to break through? One more breath in and out. Next, inhale, lift your head, look towards your hands. Exhale, shift forward into your tabletop pose again. Any movements that feel good in the hips are welcome. It might feel nice to stretch one foot back at a time, one leg back at a time, And then from here into our low dragon, you'll step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. You might need to walk your hands and your foot forward a bit. You could also walk your right knee back. And then reach through the heart space. And settle into the support of your arms. So you're looking for sensation in the front of your right hip. Maybe a stretch also through the inner thigh and the groin, depending on how wide you send this left leg. Your head can become heavy. And then another point of focus here potentially is in that left shin and left ankle. And so your knee is stacking over your ankle. And through the stacking of the bones, the stacking of the joints, we're strengthening the shin bone. Or another way you could work this is by letting your knee go past your ankle, working on your ankle flexion. No matter what you do, you just want to feel like you're at your edge, finding some ease in the pose, breathing. That's really how you get the most out of a yin practice. Last couple of breaths here. Take a moment to shift your hips back. Walk your hands back, straighten your front leg. You might feel better coming onto the fingertips. It's just a little counter stretch. And then slide your left leg back. And you might take a little child's pose again. You might just rest back onto your heels. If you were on your wrist, you could roll out your wrist. The wrist can get a little bit tired in a pose like that. It's kind of cold in this room, and I think Turkey wants me to cuddle with her. Okay, let's do that on the other side. Walking your hands forward. This time we're stepping right foot to the outside of the right hand. Walk that left knee back. And then again here, letting the hips be heavy, looking for a sensation in this front left hip, but also perhaps through the inner thigh and the groin, and then stacking the knee over the ankle, strengthening the shin bone. The only way that we can strengthen our bones is by loading them with weight. Soften into the support of your arms. Head can be heavy. Use your next inhale to shift your hips back, straighten your front leg, walk your hands back for a counter stretch, half splits. Maybe flex back through the right toes. And then again, slide your right leg back, right knee next to your left, and maybe take a child's pose or sit back on your heels like what I'm doing here. And you could roll out your wrists. And from here, we're going to make our way into a pose called squat simply. So this is a very deep hip stretch. If you have any pillows or blocks that you want to bring in, you can do that. I'm not going to be using any props. We'll come into this pose through tucking the toes and lifting the hips, walking the feet to the middle of the mat, and then widen your feet apart. Heels point in, toes point out, and then drop your hips down into a deep squat, malasana in hatha yoga traditions. And so the arms are to the insides of the legs. You could take your elbows to the insides of your thighs, palms together in prayer position. I also like to take a fist with one hand and then wrap my other hand around that, and I switch sides eventually. Or you can make this super duper yin. Just let the arms rest on the floor, let your spine round, even having your hands to your opposite elbow. This seems to be the best position for me today, so this is where I'll hold the pose. And if your heels are not touching the ground, that's okay. Consider bringing a pillow or blocks underneath your seat so that you have something to rest down on. You're trying to just let gravity do the work. Deepen your breath. Last little bit in this shape. One more breath in. Exhale, start to lift your head. You can do this a couple of ways. You can lean forward onto your hands, lift the hips, and step your knees back. I personally find it easier to bring my hands behind me, set my hips down, and then send my legs out in front. That was a really deep bend of the knees for quite a long time, so it can feel good to stretch them out. You might point and flex through the toes. And our last pose is going to be banana, a fan favorite. Come onto your back, laying down the length of your mat. And from this reclined position, walk both of your heels over to the left side of your mat, maybe even cross your right ankle on top of your left. Walk head and shoulders over to the left as well, and you have an option. You can keep your arms down beside you, or you could bring your arms overhead, holding on to opposite elbow with opposite hand. Take another breath in. Use your exhale to release, starting with your arms, moving your head and your shoulders back to center, and then moving the legs back to center. Notice if anything would feel good before you do this on the other side. And then when you're ready, extending your legs again and walking both of your heels towards the right. Maybe cross left ankle over right. Head and shoulders go into the right direction as well. And then arms go up above your head. And then just soften and breathe here. One more breath in. Exhale and release. And then just like on the first side, notice if there is any way of moving that would benefit you before you go into your final resting pose today. And whenever you're ready, set yourself up there in your Shavasana. Use any props that you have available to make it the most cozy. Let your eyes soften down. Relax your body. And you'll hear my voice when it's time to come back into your space. Enjoy your rest. just as you are. Start to bring your awareness back to your breath. Feel the movement of your breath, and then allow that to inspire you to start moving fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, letting these movements get larger. You could take a big full body stretch. Eventually pull your knees into a big hug, rock a little bit side to side, and then roll over to whichever side is comfortable and meet me in a nice comfortable seat. No hurry. Be gentle with yourself through the transition. And when you arrive in your seat, just take a moment to acknowledge the impact of your practice on you. Recall your intention for this new moon in Aquarius. What are you releasing or breaking through to step into the most authentic version of yourself? Finally, connect to a sense of gratitude for your practice, for this time that you've had on your mat and everything that fell into place so that you could be here, and gratitude for yourself for choosing to show up today. With this gratitude in your heart, palms together in front of the heart space, Anjali Mudra, and we'll close with one chant of Om. Wherever you are with your breath, empty out the lungs. Take a breath in at the bottom. Exhale to chant Om. Thank you all so much for being here today and sharing your practice with me. Happy new moon. Please let me know how this practice went for you in the comments down below. I love to hear feedback and suggestions for future classes. And if you haven't already, please like this video and also subscribe to my channel. I put out new classes every single Sunday, and I also release special classes in the middle of the week sometimes, so you'll just have to subscribe to find out. Until then, thank you again and namaste.